Hey, what's up guys? Today I'm going to be doing a review of these Venum Origin Loma Edition boxing gloves. So stay tuned. Okay guys, so today we have these Venum Origins Loma Edition boxing gloves in 16 ounce that we're going to do a close-up weigh-in and review on. This is one of 3 Loma Edition boxing gloves. They have these other ones that are called Commandos, which is kind of like a military green color, and they have a black and white one that's called the Arrow. Other than the actual look of the glove, like the design and the color, I think that all 3 models are identical in terms of padding and the actual structure of the glove. Now, it uses a synthetic polyurethane casing. Kind of has almost like a carbon fiber matrix look to it. Pretty cool, unique looking. You can see this just kind of the different little square boxes inside there that kind of gives you that look, which is pretty cool. You have the Venum logo that's written vertically down the glove in that kind of that neon green Venum logo on the thumb. The back of the wrist has a rubberized patch. It says Loma, 16 ounces. And you can see the blue piping around it. Now rotating to the palm side, it says Loma on the fingertip compartment. Attached thumb, ventilated holes on the palm. You have a split palm with the neon green and the blue. Ventilated holes on the thumb. Blue piping around the thumb. And a half Velcro closure. These gloves are manufactured in China, which is also indicated on the tag on the inside right here. I'll show you guys that here in a minute if I can't flip this open, but these are manufactured in China. They're pro boxing gloves, not to get confused with these that are like the hammers. The shields and the giant 2.0s are actually made in Thailand using genuine leather. So again, this is polyurethane. You can see there's a large amount of padding on the palm right there. I'll kind of go in more detail with that here in a second on why I'm not a huge fan of that. But you can see the stitching actually looks pretty good, all things considered. There's a polyurethane material, and you can see the gloves next to each other. And it goes kind of with that Lomachenko color scheme that they have with their pro boxing gloves with kind of that navy blue and the neon green color. So there you have it, 16 ounces. Let's go ahead and put them on the scale, see if they're true to weight or at least close to the weight they're advertised at. And let's start off with the right glove. So the right glove is right at 17 ounces and the left glove is at 17.3 ounces. So they're about an ounce and a half overweight, which is not, I mean, I guess if you want to look at it as a training glove, it's not a huge deal. Some people look at weight as a negligible thing when it comes to training gloves. Just because you're training in them, you're not really concerned about how much they weigh. But obviously for fight gloves, you would want them to be on point with the weight. So let's go ahead and do the review. Hey, what's up guys? Carlo here, and today I'm going to be doing a review on these Venum Origin Loma Edition boxing gloves. Got mine in 16 ounces. It's a Velcro closure only kind of glove. You can get it anywhere between 10 to 16 ounces, and it comes in this particular color scheme for this particular model. So the Origins Loma Editions come in this kind of this navy blue with neon green or kind of a lime color. They also have the Arrow, which comes in the black and white, and they also have a Commando edition, all Loma themed gloves. The Commandos are kind of more of like a military greenish color to them. I believe that all 3 models of gloves use the same type of material on the exterior as well as the kind of foam padding, and the overall profile of the gloves are identical. The only difference is going to be just the actual aesthetics of the glove, the way they look. So these look really familiar and similar to their pro boxing glove line, Loma editions, like the Venum hammers. I believe they have them in the shield version. I don't think they came out with the giant 2.0s in the Lomachenko colors, which is the dark blue and that kind of that lime green. But they have those for the pro boxing glove lines, which are all authentic leather. They're made in Thailand and they're much more expensive than these. With that being said, I was kind of interested to see how these would perform, if they're anything similar to the more expensive models, and to tell you right off the bat, they're not. If I were to compare these to any of the gloves I've tried from the Venum line, They're almost identical, in my opinion, to the Venum Elites. The only difference is just going to be the way they look. So, you know, you're kind of more or less paying just for the look of the glove, just more of a tribute to Lomachenko if you're a huge fan of his. But other than that, they're really similar to the Elites, maybe save for a couple small minor adjustments, especially with the padding on the palm side. So design-wise, when you're looking at the gloves, you can see it has kind of a medium-sized profile. It's not a long glove by any means, so it's the wrist is a little bit higher up. It doesn't have a super long cuff. The glove, like I showed you guys earlier in the close-up, uses a synthetic polyurethane, so PU material on the exterior that they use like in the Elites as well as the Venum Impact. Same stuff that you see in those gloves. This one has a darker navy blue and it almost has like a hologram effect with these little squares on here, which is kind of cool looking, almost like the movie The Matrix with the little squares, and kind of gives it that digitized look to it. And then it has a Venum script in that lime green that goes vertically down the back of the glove. When you go to the thumb, you still have the Venum face right there. You have Loma printed on the fingertip compartment. One thing I do like is that they avoided putting anything over this knuckle area, so you don't have to worry about any of the logos actually wearing out. Typically, you get a lot of wear and tear, obviously, over the knuckle and the striking surface right here. So it's good that they didn't put any logos right there. They avoided that. So Loma on the fingertips. On the palm, you have ventilated holes as well as a medium grip bar. You can see it has a split palm with the lime green and the blue, and then you also have ventilated holes on the thumb. Going down here, you have a large amount of padding on the palm. I'd say you're looking at about an inch of padding that extends from the bottom of the cuff, and you can feel it. It's about an inch all the way up and around. So basically it makes like a big U that comes up, over, and around. Just to kind of show you guys how that padding looks. So if you're looking at doing it, like using these gloves for kickboxing, I think they'd be great because you can really you know, parry and block shots with this inside padding. For boxing, not so much, and I'll kind of get into that here in a second, but you have a good amount of padding all throughout this palm side. So if you're looking for gloves that have a heavy amount of padding, there you have it. You do have this half wraparound Velcro strap that says Loma right here with a rubberized tag. The letters on this Loma are actually kind of raised up, so there's some texture to it, which is really nice, like an added touch. Just 16 ounces right there. You can see the inside. The liner is your standard satin nylon liner on the inside, and then the back of the wrist right here uses the same polyurethane material, and then the inside part of the wrist right here, again, uses that same kind of nylon liner, satin nylon liner. It says that they're made in China. It says 16 ounces. It says VTech, which is Venum Trade Export Company. I'm assuming that's just kind of who they use when they actually import these gloves. It says made in China, designed in France, PU synthetic leather, and just kind of the serial number. And 1119, I'm assuming that's when these gloves are actually made in China. So there goes the Velcro closure. The back of the wrist, you can see, has Velcro as well. I'd say it has about a ½ inch of padding on the back of the wrist. So you can see right there, pretty cool looking glove, very unique. Has some elements of the Lomachenko design with the color. That's pretty much it. Now, quality-wise, these gloves are actually pretty nice. I mean, all things considered, being made in China, they don't feel like those Chinese Everlast gloves that you get, or even some of the cheaper stuff that you see on Amazon, where it feels like you're getting a really cheap glove. I mean, you could tell like the liner on the inside is really moves around on your hand. It doesn't stick to the foam. You know, single stitching. The actual polyurethane just feels super thin. Like at any second, it'll just rip and tear on you. So all things considered, Venum gloves, I've noticed, even their entry-level ones, they actually do a pretty good job of keeping the standard up with a entry-level glove like this one. So you can see, you know, stitching looks pretty good. The polyurethane exterior material is nicely bonded to the triple layer foam they use. You know, they use double stitching on the grip bar. You know, ventilated holes look pretty good. They could have done a better job punching the hole out on that one, so they kind of missed the hole right there. But if I was a nitpick, I mean, they do a good job of reinforcing the seams on the outside edges. So that looks pretty good. You know, the attached thumb, they actually use the same material as the rest of the glove. They don't cheap out and use like a piece of nylon. So I like how they keep that continuous there. You know, the area where the index finger meets the thumb looks really good. You know, the Velcro strap is done nice and clean. They use a full piece of Velcro. And right there, it probably could have been done better as well. You can see kind of the lip of the Velcro is starting to kind of like ripple a little bit. So to me, that could have been probably stitched in a little bit better, and make sure that's good. Inside liner is nice as well. You don't have to worry about any of the foam ripping or tearing open. They put this little Venum rubberized tab on the piping. It's just like little details that kind of gives you a little bit more of a sense of a more premium product than you typically would see on most gloves. So the fact that they put that there, you can also see what they use. That piece of rubber actually bridges over the piping where they had to cut it and meet the two ends of the piping that were cut. So that rubber is not only just for aesthetics, but it also covers the piping so it doesn't break loose. So nice little add touch that Venum did with that. But other than that, man, I mean, logos look really good. They're symmetrical with both gloves. Back on the thumb looks good. The back of the glove, the Venum looks really nice. And just that digitized look looks really good. No issues with the actual feel of the foam, no bumps or any kind of imperfections or lumps in the foam material. So quality-wise, that's a really nice glove. Now comfort-wise, sliding your hand in here, it's a pretty snug fit. And this is the largest that you can get, 16 ounces. One thing I'm not a big fan of, which I alluded to earlier, is this foam padding on the palm. I mean, you can see how much that bulges out. And again, maybe if you're in kickboxing, that would be okay because you can use that to really absorb some shots on your palm. But for just traditional boxing, to me, that's just unnecessary to have that amount. I mean, you can see just how much it pops out. And it makes it kind of uncomfortable in the midsection of your hand, right about here. It's really uncomfortable. Even when I had my hand wraps on with these, this part would just really push into my hand and kind of make it go numb on the middle of my hand. Wrist support feels great because there's enough padding right there on the back and in the front of my wrist, but it just feels really, really padded, overly padded right there. Thumb feels really good. You can see that it's nice and parallel. The padding they use on here is good, firm enough for protection so you don't break your thumb, but not too much where it makes your thumb go numb. A nice deep finger compartment, not too narrow, not too wide. One thing I wish they would have done was added a piece of neoprene or some kind of cover over the stitching, because you can really feel the stitching on the inner finger compartment right here, and you can kind of just feel it roll against your finger when you do that. So something would have been nice to have over that piece of stitching. The gloves are a little stiff when you get these, so you know, as you use these and break them in, it's going to take a little bit of time because of how stiff they are. And I've used these for a little while now, and they've broken in a little bit, but even then I still have a little bit ways to go to really get these nice and soft and broken in, but they are definitely on the stiffer side when you first get them. Another thing I noticed is the inside foam. They use a triple layer foam, so multi-layer foam. And I wish they would have put a softer layer that lines up against your hand, because I noticed that I would get a little bit of knuckle soreness on my middle finger and on my index finger right here because of how stiff the foam is. And I wish they would have put something a little bit more, I guess, plush or softer. That way you got a little bit more of a form-fitted feel, especially on the index and the middle finger right there. But nice deep finger compartment, thumb feels good. You know, the gloves are definitely on the more snug side, so I couldn't imagine how tight the 10 ounces would feel, because at 16 ounces and I have medium-sized hands, I'm not a big dude by any means. With this extra piece of padding right here, it makes the glove super tight. So that's kind of a cause for concern if you do have longer fingers and bigger hands. So just be aware of that. Protection and performance. Now, these gloves are definitely more on the protective side. I would describe the 3-layer foam on here as really dense. You can see just pushing on it. I almost mistook this for molded foam, injected molded foam, because of how stiff this is. You can see that the foam on here is really stiff. Now, this really lends to getting a more shock absorbent glove. So it is really nice for really absorbing shots. And if you're, consider yourself more of a power puncher and you really have a lot of, who doesn't consider themselves a power puncher? We all like to think we have power, right? But if you, really put a lot of power into your shots and you put your body into it, this does a really nice job of absorbing it and really absorbing the power throughout the entire glove. If you're looking for something that's a little softer, you want a little bit more compression and feedback, You're not gonna really get it with these gloves, in my opinion, just because of how dense this padding is. It's definitely suitable for sparring if you break it in a little bit more because of how thick and soft it is. So for sparring, it would be definitely good. For bag work and mitt work, it's good as well. But again, if you're looking for something a little bit more softer, something that compresses a little bit more and you can feel your knuckles sink in, then I would probably look at something else other than these gloves. Cost-wise, these gloves are $79, which is right around the price of most Venum gloves in that price range. The Impacts, the Elites, I mean, they have a whole plethora of boxing gloves, very similar to each other. Would I pick these over the other ones I've done a review on, like the Giant 3.0s, the Impacts, the Elites? I definitely wouldn't pick it over the Impacts. I like the Impacts more, mainly because the padding is a little bit softer on the Impacts, and I feel like I get more of a feeling of connection with those. And the hand compartment is definitely more comfortable because you don't have this big lump of padding over the palm. So while these are nice, I still would go with the Impacts or even the Elites over these, just because the Elites are a little roomier. Unless you're a big Lomachenko fan, you just really want to go with the color scheme. I think there's better choices from Venum for around the same price, for around the $60, $70, $80 range, that $20 plus or minus gap with the $79 Lomachenko gloves you see here. So nice gloves, but you can definitely do better in regards to picking a different Venum boxing glove. So if you guys have any questions or comments, make sure you guys leave me down below in the comments box. As usual, I'll put the link in the description box, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.